Good day, everyone. Welcome to Humanitarian Chronicles, where I highlight extraordinary people doing extraordinary things. I'm Abby Lodmer, conscious comedian, health coach, life coach, and I am here today with the magnificent man who really needs no introduction, but I don't know who's out there, so I'll give it. Dr. Rabbi Gabriel Cousens. He is a medical doctor, a rabbi, a yogi, and honestly one of the foremost voices of health and logical reasoning and spirituality and eco-consciousness on the planet. He is a holistic physician, a homeopath, a psychiatrist, a family therapist, an Ayurvedic practitioner, and a Chinese herbalist, among more things, husband, father, healer. He is a world leader in the realm of diabetes research and the founder and director of the amazing Tree of Life Foundation Healing Retreat Center in Arizona. He is the best-selling author of There is a Cure for Diabetes, Conscious Eating, Spiritual Nutrition, Rainbow Green Live Food Cuisine, Depression Free for Life, Creating Peace by Being Peace, and the masterpiece that we are going to focus on today in this interview, Torah as a Guide to Enlightenment. Welcome to the show, Dr. Rabbi Gabriel Cousens.
Thank you, Abby, and blessings to everyone.
Thank you, blessings.
Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleichem, and all the rest. I'm so grateful to have you here. In my quest towards enlightenment, which I know that you've been on your whole life, since I've been, studying you, since you came to the period of enlightenment that led you on this path, which I hope we'll talk about, I have really tried to get my head around this question that I'm going to kick us off with. Can anybody who really eats meat and animal products be enlightened?
Well, it's a very a deep question. In general, anybody can be enlightened, okay? And does eating a vegan live food diet enhance it? Tremendously. And if you look at almost all the great traditions except one, which they don't focus on enlightenment, okay, it's all vegan. No spilling of blood, because the blood is the animal soul.
Right. Wow.
So all the great traditions are vegan, period. It's really straightforward. The Torah tradition is obviously Genesis 1:29. I'm simple. I'm giving you the herbs and grasses of the field and the fruit of the seed-bearing tree. Okay, that's real clear. In the yogic tradition, there's so many statements throughout the Vedas, but the summary is you can't not attain enlightenment if you're destroying the souls of other sentient beings. Now that's a bunch of statements brought into one. Okay, and basically the Buddhist said, how can anyone be enlightened if they're actually killing and destroying life? So there's some very strong statements here we have about you need to be vegan, you need not to spill blood as your key teachings. So now my teaching goes to how do you become a superconductor of the divine. In 1975, when I received Shaktipat, which is the awakening of the Kundalini energy from Swami Muktananda.
Wow.
I went into nothing. When I came back out, a little voice said, you should learn to eat and live in a way that supports the Kundalini. Now, the Kundalini is the transforming feminine energy of the universe. Okay? So in order to support that which is within all of us, this little voice says, that's what you have to do. Now, at that time, I barely knew what Kundalini was, and it was like, wow, this is a lot. And then over the next 1975 to 1983, I researched it, because if God is speaking to me, I'm going to try and listen, right? Not a bad idea.
Right.
And so in 1983, it got clear to me that the optimal diet for supporting spiritual life, and that's the key, okay, is a vegan live food diet. No death. We're not taking death into our system. But also, I learned more from a yogic point of view, was that we have 72,000 nadis, which is your subtle energetic channels, through which the spiritual energy flows, known as Kundalini, and meat, fish, chicken, and dairy absolutely clog it. Now, how did I learn that? I learned it because I had set up the first Kundalini crisis clinic in the world.
Wow.
And I saw people self-medicating themselves with meat if the Kundalini energy got too much. I said, okay, if they're doing that, they know something. And so I began to explore it, and it's very clear that when people go to a vegan diet, period, they enhance the flow of the energy through the nadis. There's three main nadis, Ida, Pingala, Sushumna, and when you're eating meat, fish, chicken, and dairy, you're clogging the flow of it. You're blocking the flow.
I love it.
So that's it. That's one level. The other level is I call the energy of death. Okay? So when you take you're eating meat, you're eating, animals have pain and the misery and cruelty and all these things going on and fear, and you take that into yourself. You're taking that very agitated energy, and it agitates your mind. Now, if we know anything about yoga Chirti Vritti Nirodha, which means yoga is quieting the activities of the mind. So if you're taking agitation and misery in, it obviously activates your mind. Just the opposite. Now, the other thing is the energy of death enters into not only our physical body, but our chakra systems, our 72,000 nadis, and what we call the layers of the mind. What's the layers of the mind? They're called the koshas. So it penetrates very deeply. So what we're talking about is how can we talk about enlightenment when you brought the energy of death, just the opposite, into every level of your subtle anatomy.
Yes.
Your subtle spiritual anatomy. So those are three pretty strong reasons why it really doesn't work. I mean, but I can't say absolutely because there's always exceptions. But if we look at the great traditions, we can say it.
Well, I love what you say. I love your book. I love Torah as a Guide to Enlightenment. It's so well studied, well researched, and well presented. And you say in that book something to the effect of, when you honor the natural laws, they will honor you. When you honor the spiritual laws, they will honor you. And you talk a lot about life begets life, death begets death, which is a very renowned Torah teaching. And it's in every except one, and I will mention that. I will mention it. You don't have to. It's in every amazing religion and life path except for one. And yeah, life begets life. Like, how do we not understand that? If you eat living foods, you'll be more alive. Whether it means, like you said, connecting to the divine, being able to be God's hands on this earth more, do your purpose more.
And you will respect life. If you're eating death, you don't respect life.
Right.
You honor.
Right. I love it. I love it. This book is incredible. I mean, truly, it really touches on so many things that you can't get just from reading the Torah or the Bible on your own, or the Vedas. I mean, you touch on so many different wise paths in this book. I love it. And you say, which you just said, eat in a way that nurtures and feeds the Kundalini energy, the raw vegan food, living foods. It's a powerful diet for supporting the awakening of the Kundalini. And like, I love what you just said, turning us into superconductors of the divine. Because isn't that what we want? Isn't that what we want?
That's what we want. Now, there's more to it in the spiritual terms. When we eat vegan, and obviously live food, but we eat vegan, we're sanctifying, okay, and blessing the life of the living planet.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
We're bringing holiness in our eating, okay, sanctification in our eating that uplifts the web of life on the living planet. That's very powerful. So it isn't just for ourselves being superconductors, but we're uplifting the web of life.
Right. I love that. I love that. And you say in your book, the inner essence of Torah is about merging of the heavens and earth within us, as within, so without. Why wouldn't we want to merge heaven and earth inside of us? Why do we want to feel disconnected? Why? I mean, I look at the world today, and I do try to see the positive, but I mean, as a person who's involved in the healing arts, I tend And I think I was programmed to like see negatives in the world. Raised by a lawyer, Jewish, triple whammy, sensitive, raised by a lawyer, Jewish. It's like I'm programmed to see some of the negatives in the world. But I love looking, I mean, I see in the world like so much suicide, so much depression, so much illness, tumors everywhere, cancer, disease, diabetes, which you're an expert on. It's like if we're eating these sick, tortured, raped, and then murdered animals, how can we not eat? We're eating their tumors, we're eating their pain, we're eating their abuse. Like you said, it's programming us. How can we be enlightened? How can we not want to jump off a balcony? You know, it's like we're tortured inside. So I just love that you talk about that.
So I want to add 2 minutes of something that you just said, because it's very important. Since 1905, meat eating in the United States has increased 4 to 5-fold. Eating vegetables have decreased, eating grains have decreased, but meat is 4 or 5-fold. Now, meat is the energy of death. Okay? Since 1960 until 2010, the statistics show the rate of suicide has increased 10-fold.
Unbelievable.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay? And our teenagers are about 300% higher rates of suicide. So what I'm trying to say is, when we're living this way, we are indeed creating a culture of death.
Yes, yes.
And enlightenment is the culture of light and liberation and of life. So what we eat affects our consciousness and affects our actions.
Right.
Pretty important. So when we start to put that together, our actions in the outer world, you can see how obviously a diet will affect it. So if you're eating meat, you're going to act, and you're going to be more of a, not so open to the culture of life and liberation.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And we keep beating around the bush with that, and but I've said it before. Obviously Islam does not talk about, doesn't talk about a vegan way. Now, I will tell you, Muhammad didn't speak against it. Muhammad was open to whatever, and there are certain a great enlightened Muslim, Rabbi, who people may or may not know, but she was a vegan.
Right.
A Muslim. So it's not like everybody does that, but the emphasis is very different.
Love it. I love that.
Okay? So there were people who truly understood it in the Muslim world and followed it, and there are other people too.
No, I love Rabia's teachings. I'm so grateful that they're out there. And yes, it is Islam. I mean, it's Muhammad went and killed like 70 people in one day. There's so much bloodshed. There's no talk of a Garden of Eden. I'm more liberal in my heart, but like looking at the facts, it's undeniable. We can't bury our heads in the sand anymore. And there are so many activists, Islamic activists, that speak out about this. Like, these people are stealing my religion, but I was a religious studies minor in college, so I studied every good book, I studied the Quran. There's no talk of a Garden of Eden. There's no talk of honoring all life. There are some positives.
It did not say you couldn't be vegan.
Right. It didn't say you couldn't, but it is not. It's a good deed to slaughter, and it is a good deed to sacrifice for certain holidays. I mean, that's in the Torah too, which I don't like. But
after the fall of the Second Temple, the rabbis agreed that, one, you didn't have to eat meat for holidays, and you didn't have to have any animal sacrifice. So since, 70 AD, roughly speaking, there was no requirement to eat meat.
Right.
And there was an ending of animal sacrifice. Because those are what they did in ancient times. So that's where that was given up. Okay, and I think that's important to understand that, since that time, doors open up to really follow a vegan way. And there's many, many vegan rabbis, including chief rabbis.
Right, Rav Kook. Yep, you talk all about them in your book.
lead rabbi in 1935 was a vegan vegetarian, and there's other ones who have been chief rabbis who are vegan.
Amazing.
So it's there. In fact, to be clear, very recent statistics show that 4 to 5% of the population in Israel is vegan.
Yep.
Which is the highest in the world.
Love that.
Highest in the world. Because it's a Torah teaching. See, it's a Torah teaching. That's key to understand that. And its second highest is vegetarian. 8.6% of the Israeli population is vegetarian. Wow. The highest vegetarian group is India.
Amazing. Yep, from the Vedas and everything else. Well, actually, while we're on the Torah topic, since we are focusing on your incredible book about it, I would love to touch on the 6 basic Jewish mandates that are commanded for enlightenment in the Torah. So there are Shomrei Adamah. Can we just go through the 6 of them?
Yeah, but again, for the audience, I'm just going to say it in English.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So first, no killing, no murdering, no cruelty to animals.
Yep.
Charity, which is feeding the poor. And what we know, which is very obvious, is that when you're on an animal-based diet, you're taking a lot of the grain because animals that eat about 70% of the grain. So that grain doesn't get to people.
Right.
And we're looking in a world that somewhere between 20 and 60 million people die a year from starvation. If we weren't animal-based cultures, then there'd be enough food to feed all those people.
Right.
Okay. So we have cruelty, we have no killing, we have charity. Okay. We have no destruction of the environment. Tabashi. So the animal agriculture creates a tremendous destruction of the environment, physically, the air and the water and the earth. We use up water. A vegan saves 1.5 million gallons of water a year.
Yay.
Okay? In terms of energy, it's at least 1/12 of the energy to do a vegan diet.
Yep. Especially if you're eating sprouts, which are the easiest things to grow, the most nutritious, the least costly. Yeah. Sprouts, baby. Living foods.
It's really easy.
What?
Yeah. Now, if the whole world were vegan, we'd have enough food to feed the world 7 times over.
Unbelievable.
That's very
wow.
The whole world went live food to be 12 times over.
Unbelievable.
Because you can eat half as much of live food and get all the nutrition. Okay, obviously peace, shalom, is one of the principles. Kol is Israel means to uplift the whole community, so the health of everybody improves. Pekuach HaNefesh means protect your health. And what we know is if people eat vegan, they have 1/3 less heart disease, 35 to 50% less diabetes, significantly less cancer, depending, 1 to 4 times less cancer, depending on the situation, on the type of cancer. Blood pressure, 26% of meat eaters have high blood pressure versus 4% of vegans. So clearly it supports kind of longevity.
Amen.
So I think we covered them all.
Yeah.
There and all that.
That's right. Not
so
to
we
mention.
Had charity, we got them all. So these are really the 7 principles. I think I named 7.
Yeah.
And that's very real. And you're protecting the environment. The other thing you do, and I'm going to say it supports all 5 of the, I don't call them commandments, but directives. Yeah. Thou shalt not murder. Okay? Obviously, killing animals is murder. Second, thou shalt not steal. And when we kill an animal, we steal its life, we steal its soul, we steal its fur, we steal its flesh. Thou shalt not steal. Third is adultery. People don't quite get the whole thing, but adultery, really in the Hebrew translation, is sexual perversion. The key idea. So when you see how animals are raised, the chickens and the cows, there's cross-species sex going on. How do you get the semen from the bull? How do you inseminate the female cow? How do you inseminate the chickens? That's all cross-species rape and sexuality. You see what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
So we have sexual perversion. Then we also have false, thou shalt not bear false witness, and we create the illusion as if nothing's happening.
We're
you
just
really
harvesting.
Look at it.
We're
It
harvesting.
shows up on the shelf. It doesn't have a picture of the animal dead on the picture, you know what I mean? So we create false. And the final thing is, thou shalt not covet. Well, we are coveting the animal's life, but we're also coveting, in a sense, the use of the whole ecology.
Yes.
So when we do this, we're upholding the last 5 aspects of the 10 speakings. That's pretty important in the big picture. So that, in several ways, it's very clear that the Torah basis of veganism is very, very strong. Now, there's another basis of it, and I'm going to kind of take it a slightly different way, which is God made a covenant with not just the humans, but with the animals. And that's pretty clear. And God also talked about in Genesis 1:26, 1:27, that you should eat and multiply. But then in Genesis 1:29, it gives a vegan diet.
Yep. And
then in Genesis 1:30, it basically says all the animals will eventually be vegans.
That's right.
That's what the lion and lamb is about.
Love it.
So it's all outlined. Okay. Another piece of that, which I think is really important, that covenant means the sanctity of life. Okay. And even though the humans are given dominion, they're not really given the right to take another sentient being's life. Right. And that takes us back to a given life. So all that's in there in a kind of whole other angle of understanding that all are God's children.
Yes.
God blew the breath of life not only into humans, but the whole animal world.
Right. Nefesh chaya, the living soul. It was applied to animals as well as people.
Exactly.
Right. So many Torah laws and mandates, as you've described, do talk about proper treatment of animals. So many of the main characters in the Bible, in the Torah, were honored and revered and given such high ranking because of their treatment to animals. They were called holy people. Moses and King David were considered worthy to be leaders of the Jewish people because of their compassionate treatment of animals when they were shepherds. Rebecca was judged a suitable wife for the patriarch Isaac because of her kindness.
Based on the camels.
Right. She fed the camels water at the well. There's just so many mentionings of it, and then because I'm a health coach too, and I get to talking to my clients who come kicking and screaming, but they have heart disease, diabetes, tumors, cancer, depression, suicidal tendencies. So they come to me because they know they want to get better, they want to heal themselves. And they say, well, what about the Ayurvedic principles or Chinese medicine? Like, I need meat for my dosha, or, I need that yin or yang energy. Like, what do you have to say about that? Because those are in those ancient wise teachings.
Well, let's start with Ayurveda. And when those Ayurvedic statements were made, thousands of years ago, live food in vegan meant leafy greens. And the truth is, if you just eat leafy greens, you're more likely to get a bouncing balance. But that's not what it means today. See, we have seed pâtés, and we have avocados, and we have all kinds of foods, so there's no problem. So you can have the smooth, and we didn't have blenders. You have smooth, slightly sweet, type of blended food, seed pâtés. So there's no problem whatsoever by being a vegan and following the Ayurvedic principles. See, the principles are what we're looking at. What was true 2,000 years ago is not true today. So that's the answer to that.
Wow.
That's pretty clear and it's pretty simple.
So clear. I love it.
You can completely balance your vata with live foods, with the oily. They didn't really have oils in the same way, okay? And the smooth and slightly sweet type foods that we have today. We didn't have them. Right. Now, in terms of the Chinese, some of those principles came in the 1930s during the Great Famine. Okay? And at that point, people were starving to death. And the only people who were surviving were those eating meat. Why? Well, so the Chinese herbalists are looking like, who's surviving here? If you just eat fruits and vegetables, you're not going to survive. But the truth is, you don't survive because you didn't have enough food.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So their analysis was inaccurate.
Interesting. So interesting.
You see? Now, I'll go one step further. So the truth is, if you have adequate food, there's no problem. Okay?
Right.
And a lot of, we just got back from China. It's so easy to be vegan there. It's super easy.
Absolutely.
But there's another piece of the story. We call it a spleen qi deficiency.
Right.
Now let's look at that for a second. Spleen qi deficiency means you're more likely to get diabetes, blood sugar problems, feel weak, have chronic fatigue. That's just a few of the symptoms. Have a tendency towards alcohol and drug abuse, okay? That's what's going on in our society, isn't it?
Yeah.
And our society isn't exactly vegan. Okay, so what we have found, and you look at my book on diabetes, is that a live food vegan diet is actually the treatment for spleen qi deficiency.
Wow.
It's just the opposite.
Wow. And
so isn't that mind-blowing?
It is mind-blowing because, I do so many lectures. I perform and present at different events. You and I met at the Pure Living Expo in Sedona. And I just hear so many different avenues about it. Like someone will say, oh, all these living foods, vegans are spleen qi deficient. They need to take herbs. Fine. But at least you can take herbs. I mean, I do believe that food is thy medicine and medicine is thy food. I do believe that just by eating a living foods diet, we get everything we need. Though, if we're not eating a balanced living foods diet, like at the Tree of Life, which is absolutely incredible and delicious and amazing and mouth-watering. I was drooling when you were talking about the sprouted nut and seed pâtés. I've got to get myself over there.
Seed cheeses.
Right. Oh, my gosh.
There's no problem.
No.
Okay. So the key is with vegans developed today, we can easily balance our doshas. Okay, that's what we talk about Ayurvedic. And clearly, you can eat in a way that you don't get a spleen qi deficiency. As I'm explaining, and I'm going to answer another point you brought up, really, it's properly applied according to your constitution. Those are key things. It's the treatment for spleen qi deficiency.
Wow.
Okay. Now, what happens, and it happens, people misunderstand, is in the vegan world, there's a tendency to use a very, I'm going to say, outmoded approach, which is a high complex carbohydrate, low fat, low protein diet.
Right.
Now, for a small percentage of the population, maybe 25%, 30%, that actually is good. For the majority, you need more fat and you need more protein. And that's where people kind of run into the spleen qi because they're holding on to a diet that's only for maybe a third of the population and not for the other two-thirds. So when people really apply appropriately the diet to their constitution, which is 70% of people need to be having more plant fat foods like avocados, nuts, and seeds, and more protein, then there's no problem, and there certainly is no spleen qi deficiency. As I say, it's the treatment. properly applied. So that's what happens. So people make those statements. Here, when people come for diabetes, spleen Qi deficiency problem, and they get healed.
Yep.
Well, because we're on a live food, vegan diet that's properly applied. It's, and therefore it works. So you have to, being a vegan, you have to use, and live food vegan, you have to use a certain amount of intelligence to eat according to your constitution. And then you don't have those kind of problems.
So do you talk about that in your book about diabetes? Because, and where do you stand on the blood type diet? I have read so much science about the pseudoscience and fake claims in the blood type diet. When you talk about your constitution, what exactly are you talking about? Not the blood type diet, or...
So first of all, I go into great depth in my book, Conscious Eating.
Right.
I lay it all out. It's about 800 pages.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But chapter 3 covers that in great depth.
Okay.
So when I talk about constitution, I'm actually talking about the genetics on chromosome 19. And those genetics tell you how much carbohydrate, how much fat, and how much protein you need. And our work, and I've worked out with an interview, is how to figure that out for yourself.
Wow.
Okay, so that's in Conscious Eating. It's also in Rainbow Green Live Food Cuisine, and I clearly do mention it in the diabetes book. Okay, so it's there, but the key concept is you do need to eat according to your genetic constitution. Now, that's clear. And we have the Ayurvedic constitution, Kapha, Pitta, Vata, and the 9 variations. And we have what we call fast and slow oxidizer, which has to do with people who eat protein or fat. Okay, so there are real constitutions that are really genetic oriented. Now, Eat Right for Your Blood Type has some serious problems. I was filming with a lady who actually they took some of their data and then abused it. So she harshly criticizes them. But it's a kind of make-believe diet. Now, certain holistic physicians were pretty key on that. Well, if you're type O, then you have extra stomach acid and you need more protein. Well, when they actually did the research, okay, and they actually measured people's stomach acid, it was the same for everybody.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then people say, well, something's wrong here, okay? And the truth is something is wrong. It's a make-believe diet. There's no real basis for it. Now, there is a little bit of truth, okay? The truth is the concept of lectins.
Right.
Your blood types are certain foods have certain antigens, okay, that react with your antibodies. So the different blood types have that react against certain foods. So, for example, if you're type O, if you eat more than 5% sunflower seeds, type O sunflower seeds are like an antigen to that blood type.
Oh my God.
So you can get away with 5%, but
wow.
You go above that, you could start having like an allergy reaction. So in all the blood types, you do have these antigen antibody, possibly in type B, sesame seed is an issue. You get what I'm saying?
Totally.
So I have a list in my book, Conscious Eating, of the world list of it in terms of what we're doing. And again, their list the list that they made up doesn't seem to have any reality and basis of the world literature.
Wow.
So that's all I want to say. The third thing is the Japanese have established that the primary blood type is type B, not type O. So the real studies, again, so everything, all their premises are just tip improvement. So it's bogus. It was well written. It was kind of popular, but it's been pretty much disproved by almost, most, every doctor I know does not support it. Every holistic physician and most naturopaths don't support it.
You blow my mind. Every time I talk to you or listen to one of your videos, you completely blow my mind. I have the book Conscious Eating. I just have to go back to chapter 3 and read about it. Oh my gosh, Because I always say to people when I'm presenting about living foods, vegan lifestyle diets, I say, if I were in a room of all panthers, I would tell all the panthers to eat the same, whether they lived in Africa, Asia, LA, in a zoo, trapped. Like, wherever you are, you're a panther. You should be eating the same things. We are humans. We should be eating the same things, but that's not true necessarily. We should be eating the same things, but different amounts of those things.
And that has to do with your actually genetic constitution.
Wow, unbelievable. Wow, you're so amazing. Okay, that's my next assignment for myself. I've already not read the whole thing because it's all so thick, but oh my gosh, I'm going back to chapter 3, Dr. Cousens. Going back. Oh my God, you're
a lot of fun to speak to.
Well, you're amazing. I'm just so grateful that you're out there inspiring and helping people heal the masses. I just cannot thank you enough for the work you've done on yourself, first of all, to be able to help others and affect others. That's where it starts. So get your Shakti pot going on, my friends. Get the enlightenment you need to actually be a conduit of the divine, as Dr. Rabbi Cousens talks about in Torah as a Guide to Enlightenment, a book that I love, that I have very thoroughly skimmed but not fully read. So I still have many more chapters to read about that. And conscious eating, I love spiritual nutrition. You've inspired me to get your other books. And of course, you are the foremost voice, in my opinion, and many others, about healing diabetes on earth. So get that book if you're struggling with blood sugar, obesity, diabetes, imbalances of any kind, because the wisdom that Dr. Cousens shares in that book could apply to any dis-ease or disorder you're experiencing. It just so happens that the main focus is diabetes, but the wisdom in there spans the gamut of all diseases, okay? That's what I have to say about that.
Yeah, see, the key is the driving force behind all diseases is inflammation.
Right.
And a meat-based diet enhances inflammation. A vegan diet decreases inflammation. And so it's a basis of a healthy diet for everybody.
Easy.
Now I'm going to tell you, how much time do we have?
As much time as you want. I mean,
I'm going to drop a tidbit just to understand it. And I think it's really important. Meat has 2 amino acids that shorten your lifespan.
Whoa.
Leucine and methionine. Leucine and methionine. Leucine being more important.
Wow.
And what they discovered is that the vegan diet is much lower in leucine and methionine. Therefore, it naturally has a more anti-aging quality to it.
Wow. Look at you.
So
you're 150.
That's another little piece of the story.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. So I'm just throwing that in, that there's a lot going on as we're discovering these things. It's very interesting. Just that one little piece tells you a whole story.
Wow.
And so when we go vegan, we cut out that whole leucine methionine amount, and therefore we extend longevity.
Amen. And back to your Torah as a Guide to Enlightenment book. Life begets life, death begets death. There's the science behind it, my friends. But spiritually, how can we be eating death and not die sooner? We kill those animals, and then they in turn kill us from the inside out.
Right.
I mean, it makes perfect sense to me, and I hope to anyone who's watching this. Wake up, my loves!
And it's partly people have trouble letting go of their habits.
Right.
And the general media obviously promotes meat, fish, chicken, and dairy. Okay? Because that's who pays for the, advertising.
That's right.
And so we have to kind of step back from the media consciousness and media control of the mind. Like, milk does the body good? Okay, no. That's just totally not true.
No.
But the point is, at some point, we have to step back. Now, what's happening today, which is, I think, really, really good, is the media has been so much of disinformation that it's harder for people to want to listen. And so now we start to go to other forms of information that are clearly more trustworthy and don't really have an agenda to control people's minds.
Absolutely.
So all this is making it more and more possible for people to move out of the mainstream way of thinking into a vegan and more so a life and diet. And the rate of veganism in the United States has definitely increased.
Yay.
We don't know exactly. It used to be 0.5% to maybe 1 or 2%. Now it's maybe as much as 3% of the U.S. population is vegan.
Yes.
That's very cool and very, very powerful.
So cool, and thanks to you for
and
being...
what I recommend in people making a transition, is start with the vegan part. No spilling of blood. And people should master that. Okay? Then you're adding more and more live food to at least 80% live food.
Oh, man. Oh, my gosh. Yes, there we have it, my friends. Vegan, get more enlightened, be a spiritual conduit, do your purpose more fully, no depression. Sometimes I do get depressed at the state of the world, but listen, when I was eating meat, I was a lot angrier. I'll tell you that. I was a lot more depressed and a lot more angry.
It took it on. Now, we have a master's program in vegan life food nutrition.
Amazing.
And one of the master's students actually did an interview of 525 people who were 2 years on an 80% live food, 100% vegan diet.
Wow.
And the data showed that there was a 400% decrease in depression and a 300% decrease in anxiety.
Oh my gosh.
So the data was very good. I mean, this isn't a journal study, but it's a pretty good suggestion of where we're going. And what you also found is that an 87% increase in spiritual lights and art and kind of expansion of consciousness. So it really does make a difference. What you eat affects your consciousness.
Yep.
And what you eat affects your health. And what you eat affects your actions. So all that is part of the story. So that's kind of what we're kind of looking at, is this, very exciting opening up to the facts of things versus, the media propaganda.
Amen. You just lay it down, Dr. Cousens. You just say it like it is, and I love that about you. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that you exist. Tree of Life is the most incredible healing center. I aim to go there. It is on my bucket list. I've only heard real life reports from multitudes of groups and friends. And I was just talking to a friend the other day about it. He just got back from the Tree of Life and said it was the best food he's ever had. He's a vegan. He's been a vegan for years. He said it was the best vegan food, hands down, that he's ever had. Like, made with love, tasty, made him feel incredible, full of life force. I cannot wait to get over there. I do aim one of these days to do the master's program, so see you there. I can't wait. I'll do my own study. Yeah.
So we are actually a total vegan setting. We have organic, vegan farming.
Yep.
Okay, that's like one of 5 farms in the United States.
Wow.
So that's a key thing. What it means is we don't use blood meal, bone meal, or animal manure, because that actually can give you the GMOs from the animals. Besides, it doesn't exploit animals. Okay? All our materials are basically vegan, and then our lifestyle is vegan, and that's also what we teach. So people come here and they get a total vegan experience.
Wow.
It's like the total lifestyle of holistic, sustainable, organic, veganic spiritual living. So we have that eco-spiritual quality, which is inherent in the vegan way of life.
Wow.
When we take it beyond no cruelty or harm to animals, and we expand it to what I call holistic veganism, we have every aspect of the holistic veganism. And then we add, of course, which is part of the vegan world, the whole liberation approach.
Yeah.
So people come, they meditate, we have spiritual talks in the evenings, but it's the big picture. It's a total wrap-around lifestyle that people are exposed to when they come to the Tree of Life. And it's unique in that way. It's like, come learn the lifestyle, and then we have the master's program. People who come for a variety of workshops. We have scene workshops.
Wow.
We have our 21-day kind of healing enlightenment levels. We have meditation, spiritual meditation retreats. So we have a lot of things going on to really educate people in this way of life.
Wow.
That's the concept.
That's right. It's like I say, you can't just read the Bible and decide to become a priest. You have to go to seminary and be immersed and indoctrinated. Learn the rituals, learn the customs, learn how to do it. You can't just say, I'm going to be a rabbi, I'm going to read the Torah. No, you need learned rabbis and holy men and guides and leaders to guide you. Then you can become a rabbi. So everybody go to Tree of Life, get yourself indoctrinated in the right way. I will see you there. I cannot wait. It has truly been on my list for many, many years. I'm 40. It's probably been on my bucket list for 25 years since I heard about you. So I will make it. I will see you there, Dr. Cousens. Do you have... Oh, sorry, go on.
And if you want to find out more about it, just go to drcousens.com.
Oh, nice. Okay. I'm going to have all the information down below and the Tree of Life website as well. drcousens.com. You can find everything there. I am so grateful for you. Thank you so much for being a light unto the nations and unto the heavens. You are making your maker proud, Dr. Rabbi Cousens. I am so thankful.
And I want to thank you for all the good work you're doing and helping getting this out to the world.
Thank you.
So,
you're welcome.
Blessings to all the listeners, and may we, through our life, bring peace to the world.
Amen. Shalom. Salam. Thank you.
Okay.
Loka samasta suki no bhavantu. Thank you, Dr. Cousens. We'll see you again soon.
Yes. You're really fun to talk to, so we can do more.
Oh, thank you. Amen. Ditto. I can't wait. Okay, well, I'm going to contact Yehoshua. See you in the cyberspace soon then. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for your love. Be well. Namaste.
Okay.